Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I got in a multi-tool to take a look at. This one's coming from Rocktol and the model is the Gen R. This is going to have a retro black look to it. The knife blade is going to be using VG10 steel. It's going to have a gut hook on it and the scissors are going to be really large. So stick around if you want to learn about it. I'll do a real quick unboxing. We'll go over all the tools on this multi-tool. We'll put some of them to use and then I'll give some thoughts on it. So there isn't a ton of information on this box. It does say Gen R and that is the retro black. But let's get it out of this packaging. See what all we get here. So it looks like we're going to have a manual. Looks like the multi-tool and a sheath. And inside of that sheath are some more screwdriver bits. We have a T10 and a T15, some slotted screwdrivers, and a Phillips. The included sheath is made out of nylon. It does have their name kind of sewn on there. This is a button closure. Has a spot right there for those extra bits. We're going to have a belt loop back here. I think this can accommodate up to at least a 2-inch belt. But what's nice about this is that you can also put this like on the molly or whatever of a backpack. It doesn't have to go just on a belt. So I have carried a multi-tool every single day for probably the past 20 to 25 years or so. And I use them all the time. And I would say total, I probably have somewhere around 15 or 20 of them. Again, I think they're great to carry on you, but they're also good just to keep in your car, put it in the glove compartment or center console, put it in your trunk, whatever. They're also good to go in a backpack, tackle box, a tool bag, whatever, workbenches. There's so many places and uses for them. I probably use the scissors and the screwdrivers more than any of the other tools, but that's mainly because I carry a separate knife blade. But anyways, let's get into this Gen R here. I believe this is a Wave Plus clone. It's going to be made out of stainless steel. It's CR13 for most of it. And again, the knife blade, which I'll show you in a minute, is the VG10. And as you can see, it has this black stone wash finish. As far as dimensions of it, we're right around 4 inches in length. Try to go to the widest spot here, about 1.5 inches in width, and thickness without that pocket clip is about 3/4 inch. Weight on it by itself, you're looking at 9.8 ounces. If you carry it with the sheath and the extra bits, you're at 11.6 ounces. Before we go over all of the tools, I will show you the manual here. And it looks like this has a 5-year warranty. So this is considered a 27-in-1 multi-tool. However, they do count like the pocket clip as a tool and some of the bits as tools. So realistically, it's probably not 27 tools. But let's take a look at these tools. We'll start on the outside ones first. And we are going to have this knife blade here. Again, VG10 steel. You can kind of see the shape of the blade here. This is going to have a liner lock right there. And let's see if we can do that all one-handed. This is right out of the box. And yeah, it can be done one-handed pretty easily. And opposite the knife blade, we're going to have a saw blade. And same thing, liner lock on that. On the opposite, still on the outside, we're going to have a serrated knife blade. And then also a gut hook. I think this is the first multi-tool I've ever had that's had that gut hook. Again, liner lock there. And then finally on the opposite side, we're going to have these scissors. And again, they are very large. We'll have to see what that feels like when we're cutting stuff in a bit. All right, let's open these up. They are not spring loaded, so you have to manually open them. It's actually what I prefer. And then up here, we're going to have needle nose pliers, and those come together really well. I don't really see much of a gap at all there. You're also going to have regular pliers in here. You're going to have wire cutters, and then they're calling this hard wire cutters. There's two different types of wire cutters here. And these wire cutters are replaceable. And then in between here are crimpers. So you could put two wires on like a butt connector or whatever, and then basically squeeze that together and crimp that. Each side, where like the inside tools are, is a ruler. And when you bring these two halves together like this is a total of 8 inches in length. You can see we got our 1, 2, 3 kind of coming across here. This side here is going to be where our bit holder is. These do have detents on them, but I found with my other multi-tools, even if your bit doesn't have it on, you can still use it. Sometimes when you're like this, you have to worry about them falling out. I know some people will put some like rare earth magnets down in there to keep them in, but I'll show you with some other bits here in a bit that it will work. These ones have locks here, and you have to push this to get these to fold back in. We have several more tools over here. Let's see if I can get those out. All right, so we are going to have a can opener, bottle opener right here. Let's get that to lock in. And then also a wire stripper. This is going to have the same lock on this side that the other side had. Up next, we're going to have a large flathead. This could probably be used as a small pry bar as well. Up next is a precision screwdriver. It has a Phillips on there right now. These are fantastic for glasses or maybe like iPhone screws and stuff like that. But you can pull this out and flip it around, and it has a flathead on the other side. There's not very many multi-tools that put these precisions on here anymore, and I really like having it. Next up, you're going to have an awl. Again, it can be used for sewing or basically puncturing just about anything. And finally, you're going to have a wood and metal file and another slotted screwdriver tip there. All right, let's try using some of these tools. We'll see how they are right out of the box. Just do a simple paper cutting test first. That was a very clean cut. Let's see how it does this way. It's actually a very sharp knife. Let's see how it does on something a little bit thicker than regular paper. This is kind of like cardstock. It's way thicker than a regular index card. I always look to see how jagged or how clean this line is. That's very clean. All right, up next, let's try some corrugated cardboard. Yeah, I mean, this is easy work for this. Try some regular rope with the knife blade. Yeah, like it was nothing through that. Let's see about making some cuts here. Yeah, very easy. And let's try some really thick rubber heater hose. Again, very easy. Let's try some of these same tests with the scissors. See how well they cut. Easy work. Let's try an index card. All right, let's try this cardboard. We'll see if this leaves like any indents on my thumb when we're trying to get through this. Because it's not the whitest shelf. Yeah, I can actually feel that kind of digging in a little bit. So I would say if you have a lot of cutting to do, you can get through it, but you're probably going to have a mark on your thumb afterwards. So you can see right there, because that shelf is not the widest shelf. So if you're cutting through something hard, you'll definitely feel that. Let's see how the scissors do with some plastic. Got a zip tie here. No troubles at all. Let's check out some of this rope with these scissors. A lot of scissors will really get bound up on this type. It went through, it took 2 cuts though. Yeah, those are actually really sharp. I will try this gut hook on some rope. You could also use this on a seat belt, but it's really kind of used for maybe like field dressing an animal, but let's see how this works to get through it. I made it through pretty easily. Hopefully you can see with this white background that there's very little gap in between those needle nose pliers. So something super skinny. This is a paper clip, but I mean, you could put the smallest object in there and that's going to hold that. Let's check out the wire cutters. There's 3 wires inside of this sheath here. Put it down here and just give her a squeeze. And it made it through it, no trouble. Let's check out the screwdriver. Don't expect any problems with it. If you ever need like additional leverage or length, you can always open these up like this to get in further. And like I said earlier, even though these do have that little ball detent, you can pretty much take any 1/4 inch bit and put in here and it will work. Especially if you're screwing this way, it's never going to fall out. If you're going this way, it's never going to fall out. And then once this gets onto whatever you're screwing this way, it won't fall out that way either. And that's actually pretty decent. It's not even falling out on its own there, but so you can use any other bit. So let's take some 16 gauge wire, cut a piece off, and then I'm going to get the wire stripper off of here. And then let's try to get down to bare wire here. One more little piece it looks like. There we go. Now let's take that bare wire, put it inside of a connector here, and then try to do a little bit of crimping and see if we can get it to stay in. So we're just here. I'm going to squeeze down on that. And that is a nice tight crimp. Let's also check the can opener, see how well it works. So I'm not going to bore you and do the entire thing, but you can see it's making pretty quick work out of this. I'm more than halfway around pretty much already. All right, let's see how the knife blade does just with some wood. And how about the actual saw on it? That's actually cutting through pretty well. And I'm going to try the spine of this, see how it throws sparks here. Really, really well. So before we end this video, I did want to show you guys what that would look like down in a pocket in case you just use the pocket clip and not that sheath. And also, this is what I mean when I say you can attach it to a backpack. So just anywhere that you have any type of loops or anything, just put that through there like that. So like I mentioned earlier in the video, I've carried a multi-tool every day for probably close to 25 years. So let me know down in the comments, if you guys carry a multi-tool, and if so, which one do you carry? I personally really like this Rocktol Gen R. I think it's a great value for what you're getting. The blade having that VG10 steel on it is great. That has a HRC of 60, I believe. It's a huge upgrade over like your typical stainless steel that's on most of these multi-tools. Excellent edge retention on it. The pliers on these are fantastic. They have great alignment, a very smooth action on it, and I like that you can replace these wire cutters if you need to. All of the tools on it, whether they're the outside tools or the inside tools, all lock up super solid. Again, liner locks on the outside, and then these push button locks for the inside tools, but all lock up really solid. I like that they include several extra bits, and again, you can kind of use just about any 1/4 inch bit in it. I also like the fact that they include a sheath in case you don't want to pocket carry. I personally carry my multi-tool on my belt, so I do like having a sheath, and a lot of other companies don't include sheaths anymore. Probably my only complaint with these is with the scissors and kind of that little shelf that you put your thumb on. That can get a little bit uncomfortable if you're using them for any real length of time. And I'll just compare them here with the Leatherman original Wave, and you can see how wide that shelf is. So when you put your thumb on there, it doesn't really get sharp. Now these are on the inside of the handle, so they're able to fit more stuff in there versus these being on the outside, because there's only so much room for that stuff to close down in there. So it is more convenient having these on the outside though. I do want to quickly talk about the warranty, because Rocktol has a 5-year warranty on their multi-tools. Leatherman, I believe, now has a 25-year warranty. It used to be a lifetime warranty. And obviously 25 years is way longer than 5 years. But I will say that Leatherman, there's a bunch of hoops that you kind of have to jump through to do a warranty claim. They have this long form, and then they have to kind of approve you returning it. I actually had to send this back in because a blade broke on this. And another thing that kind of sucked was I had to pay for shipping both ways on it. And I think it was something like $12 or whatever each way. So like you take a $140 multi-tool and now add another $24 to it. So it can start getting expensive when things break on it. And that brings me to the price of these Gen Rs. They're coming in at less than $46, which I think is a fantastic value. The Leatherman Wave Pluses are like $130 to $150. And I personally just don't think that the tools on them are that much better to spend that much of a difference. But the Gen R is available on Amazon, and I'll leave that link down in the video description in case you guys want to find out more information on it, if you want to read some of the other reviews, or if you want to pick one up. But alright guys, if you found the video helpful or informative in any way, please hit that like button. It really helps the channel out. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. And that's going to be it on this one. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it.